Welcome on wrist and welcome to another unboxing. Now this watch was kindly sent in by Zelos, however they have no control over my opinions on the watch, and I did let them know that I will be 100% honest in my videos, and they sent it in anyway, so let's get into it. Here we have a quick 360 of this outer box. It's a simple cardboard outer box, nothing fancy about it. Let's open her up. We are greeted with the card, and it's always good to see the card. These cards, they're better than your typical just plastic card. I mean, you can see the design there, a lot of detail and time went into these cards, and it's just something nice, a nice little touch to add. We get this watch roll here, blue leather on the outside. It's a very soft to the touch. The branding right there. There's the watch. Let's put the watch to the side for now, and we'll take a closer look at the watch roll. Now if you look at the watch roll, you can see there are 3 slots, so you get 3 pillows for your watches, and the pillows have this addition on the side of each one, so that when you go to slot them in, you just line them up, push it down, and it's locked into place. The pillow will not move. So when you're, carrying your watch roll around and your watches are inside, they won't really move around and touch each other. It keeps them right in between each compartment. So there are these dividers so that the watch is pretty much protected from your other watches. So that's always nice to have, and it keeps it nice and tidy. Now, the overall quality of these watch cases, it's not going to be the greatest. Yes, the outside feels very nice, soft and smooth, but the inside isn't as good as this outer leather. As you can see, there are some rough edges and some glue remains. It's not the greatest, however, do keep in mind, a lot of these watch companies just give you a box that you can't really use. It's just something to display the watch in, or something that just carries the watch to get it shipped to you. This here, what I like about it is it's a functional watch box, and not only that, it can hold more than one watch, which if you're already looking at Zelos, more likely than not you have more than one watch. So it's good that they offer this 3 watch roll, so that not only hold your Zelos watch, you can hold your other watches too. All right, let's put this to the side and we'll get to the watch. Here it is, guys. This is the Zelos Nova 2 Aventurine dial, and just take a look at how gorgeous this dial is. Now, what I like about this is immediately when you first lay eyes on it, it looks like you're staring into the universe. It's like you're looking up at a very clear sky, and you're just seeing millions or billions of stars sparkling in that night sky. Now, I also like this little detail they have here. It's kind of like a sector dial, where the center portion has that aventurine, and the outer portion has this other pattern here, like a guilloche pattern, and it's all very cohesive. Even though they're 2 different patterns, the colors help them to blend in with each other, and their texturing also help to blend in as well, while providing 2 different backgrounds to enjoy. Now, if you see, the hands here are polished, and a side effect of that is you can see it can kind of sometimes be hard to read the time, because the hands kind of just blend in and sometimes appear invisible against that dark dial. Now, the hands themselves, very sharp, nicely done, needle-like hands, and they work well with the rest of the metal elements on the watch, because if you look at all of the steel components, they're polished. So it really helps to just elevate the shine and overall flashiness of this watch. It really ties in well with that aventurine dial, having that polished case, polished hands, polished inner ring, outer ring on the dial there, you can see, and polished numerals. So you won't really find any lume on this watch, because it is targeted more towards that dress watch area. But for a dress watch, I find it's pretty flashy. I mean, yes, it can look a little subtle in certain settings where it's has that darker tone. But even here, from just a bit further away, you can kind of see the sparkle of the aventurine, and you see how the light is reacting to the dial. The polished aspects of the watch, they really just pop. See the numerals popping there, but the hands themselves don't really have the same shine or luminous effect of the numerals. They kind of fade into the background at some angles, even appearing invisible. Now, I will say, while on camera the hands appear to be disappearing into the dial, in person then they don't actually disappear like they do on the camera. They're actually much more visible in person. I think it's just this setup that I have here that is causing this to look like it's completely disappearing. But I mean, they do disappear a little bit, but not as much as they do on camera. So you can see when I kind of play with it in the light, they are still visible, but obviously they're not completely visible. Now, I like how they have that small sub-seconds as well instead of the normal running seconds hand. I think it helps to just break up the dial, helps to segment the dial into different components so that you're not completely looking at a piece of aventurine. It really helps to give depth and more added elements to this dial to make it more interesting. And you can see in that sub dial there are these little notches in that sub dial ring for the 5-second intervals, which is a nice little touch, which helps to give you a bit more information. However, it can be a little hard to see given it's a polished ring, but that does provide some useful information when you need it. Now, this is a 37mm watch, and I like how brands are moving more towards the smaller watch size. And it's good because this being a dress watch, you kind of want it to be on that smaller scale as well. And I think it just looks great. I think if this was a bigger watch, it would just stand out even more and just be a little bit obnoxious on the wrist. But I like how this aventurine dial is paired with like that darker shade. It really helps to tone it down a lot while giving that, subtle bit of flash. Now, also, you'll see at the 6 o'clock, you won't find a 6. Instead, you find the logo there, which I actually quite like. It keeps the dial rather clean, and you're still getting that logo right at the 6. They're not putting the logo right on top in the middle of the dial there, which would obstruct that beautiful aventurine dial. They left it rather clean and minimal, which helps to just highlight the dial itself. And guys, keep in mind, this is not like thousands of dollars. This watch is rather affordable, and the dial you're getting on this is actually quite insane. If you're considering watches for their dials, this is pretty up there. I mean, take a look at this. A lot of detail work, a lot of just different elements working together here. If you look near the numerals, they also have these polished little hour markers just for that added extra touch of steel, which helps to just balance the whole watch out. It's not just about the dial. They do pay attention to the other steel elements as well. And the more you look at this dial, the more hidden gems you find, like those hour markers, and between those hour markers are small, tiny little printed dots for each minute as well, which it's actually quite nice to see. Now, at first glance, the case might seem a little simple, but when you take a closer look, the case itself does have quite a bit of dimension and depth to it. The lugs there, you see, it does again have that stepped look with a lot of edges. The bezel itself is also not just like a curved bezel. It does have a flat edge a bevel there, and then transitions into the case, which just helps to give it a lot of interest. It makes it more than just your typical one-dimensional case. It really helps to tie in with the whole detail aspect of that dial. The dial is detailed, the case is detailed. It just really helps to elevate this watch. Everything just works well together and it all ties together nicely. Crown is signed. It is a manual wind watch, so you will have to wind it every now and then. The wind is easy to use, easy to wind, no issues there. You get a display case back, so the sapphire crystal on the top and sapphire on the back. It is a boxed crystal as well, which is very nice. I like the boxed crystals on dress watches. I think it gives it a lot of character and just more structure. Instead of making it flat, it gives it more of that depth and three-dimensional feeling to it. Now, being a manual wind watch, it's going to be on the thinner side, which is exactly what you want for a dress watch, because you want it to slide under the cuff with ease. And that thickness also helps to make the watch appear very sleek and slim, which really works well with this case and this dial. Now the case, it has this like futuristic aesthetic to it, kind of like a spaceship, and that dial is kind of like the universe. So the watch kind of does have this space theme. Now taking a closer look at the case back there, again, it is all polished as well. Sapphire crystal, again, just like the front. It's always good to be able to look at your watch. And what I like about manual wind movements is the absence of a rotor. I really think it just allows you to see all the components a lot better because there's not this giant thing obstructing the view. However, there are some companies that do a really good rotor. I just personally prefer manual wind movements like this, where you can just see everything nicely. It's always cool to be able to see the inner workings of your watch in general. Now moving on to the strap, I personally am a bracelet guy, but look at how good this strap looks. It's a very simple, classic and clean looking strap. No overdone textures, no patterns, just very clean, matte, smooth leather finish, which really does help to just, again, highlight and elevate the dial and the case. Everything here is focused on that dial, but that's not to say that everything else is underdone. You're still getting an excellently crafted, polished case, and the strap just feels so damn good. It's very soft, and look at this, fresh out of the box, and I can already tell I probably won't even need to break this strap in. Not only that, it does have quick release for you, so you can swap this out, use the strap on other watches, because this strap is it's rather good, and I would probably like to see what this strap looks like on other watches. But I also don't want to take this watch off of this strap because I think it pairs really nicely. I think maybe it might go well with like a dark blue strap as well, but I think the black really just does work here because the black allows that darker blue color to come through. It doesn't hide it. It doesn't make it blend in too much. It really just helps the color to shine through, even though it's that darker shade. But at the same time, I think the black keeps it classy, gives that classic feel, and it also tones down the watch itself down a little bit, because if this was a more extravagant strap, I feel like the whole watch in general would feel quite overwhelming. So I like what they did here. It does have matching stitching at the tip there, and it just feels extremely good. I mean, look how nice this strap flows and moves. Now, unlike the case, the buckle does incorporate some brushing with polished bevels there. So it's not a completely cohesive buckle because of the brushing, but I like how the buckle itself is also quite angular, just like how the case is angular. So there is that cohesion there. It is branded as well, and the buckle itself is actually rather a little bulky compared to how slim and sleek this watch head is. I would have rather seen a slimmer buckle, but it is finished rather well. You can see how crisp the transitions are between the brushing and the polishing, and the lines are very well done. There are no rough edges, which is nice to see. Here it is on my wrist. Now I have about a 6.5-inch wrist for your reference, and right away it is an insanely comfortable watch and a very, very comfortable strap. Now, just as I thought, I didn't need to break this in at all. So this is right out of the box, slapped onto my wrist, and you can see there, it's already contoured so nicely and wraps insanely well. This strap is so good. It's very soft, and you can see when it's on the wrist there, that black really just works well with that dark blue shade on the dial. Everything just works so well together. It makes it look very classy. I really like this dark color combo. Really gives it that classic, more formal look while giving a bit of that flash from the polished case, the polished elements on the dial, and of course that glittering, shimmering aventurine dial. And even from here, you can kind of see when it's playing with the light, you see how that outer guilloche texture just shines through as well. You can see all the little details on the dial, even though it's such a small thing, like 37 millimeters, you can still see all the little details, which is quite amazing. There it is, guys. That's my unboxing and first impressions of the watch. And just at the moment, my favorite thing about this watch is the strap. And I'm a bracelet person, but I really like this strap. Now, let me know in the comments what you think about this watch. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more watch content. I'll see you in the next one.